Did you know Variety, the children's charity, is the entertainment charity started by a group of show business people who found an abandoned baby in a theatre way back in 1928. These kind-hearted performers raised so much money to help the lost child that they began helping other children, and Variety, the children's charity, was born. Read the full story and support the entertainers charity that supports kids in need today. Visit variety.org.au. You're listening to the School of Hard Knock Knocks podcast with me, Morry Morgan.
Ladies and gentlemen, your next comedian.
Shouldn't drink on an empty head, you know that, don't you?
That is the shittiest heckle I have ever heard in my life.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
What's a bucket list?
You have dangerously underprepared yourself for the shit that is about to get real.
Adam Rozenbachs has an impressive comedic resume that includes writing, broadcasting, acting, and of course stand-up comedy. His humour has been known to be cutting at times, and in this interview we discuss poorly timed tweets and bouncing back after a media backlash. Adam also shares how he generates new material, why it's important to have people around you as a sounding board of your comedy, and why Kabul has a great comedy scene. We also talk about my raw comedy heat and Adam's Melbourne International Comedy Festival show. And if, like me, you didn't make it through to the next round of Raw and you would like some help polishing your stand-up comedy, then be sure to visit www.schoolofhardknockknocks.com and check out our February, March, April and May courses with guest comedians Elliot Goblet, Brad Oakes, Christine Basil and Richard Stubbs, respectively. And now let's get on with the podcast. Here's Adam Rozenbachs.
Hey, how are we? Are we all good? All right, fantastic. I'm good. Thanks for asking. Appreciate that. Actually, for a Saturday, I had a very busy day today. Very busy day. I put some of those My Family stickers on my car, which is pretty cool. I don't actually have a family. It's just a representation of all the people I've run over the last couple of weeks. So it's going well. I've got about 3 more dads. So I've been pretty accurate. But I tell you what, right, I don't like those My Family stickers because I just find them really pretentious. Because, like, I don't have a family, I live by myself, and I find them really pretentious. You know, people just driving around just going, oh, look at me, I've got a family, you know, or I've got a car, you know, oh, I've got a windscreen that doesn't have a brick through it. It's like, fuck you, you know. Like I said, I don't have a family, I live by myself, there's no sticker for me, is there? You know, there's no sticker for a prostitute in the boot, is there? No, and, she's fine now, but, you know what, right? I actually blame those My Family stickers for the increase in road rage that we've had over the last couple of years, right? And the reason I say that is because, you know, when someone cuts you off in traffic, okay, you've got that split second in your head to decide whether or not you're going to, like, honk your horn or give them the bird or yell something out to them. And usually all you've got to go on is, like, the back of someone's head and maybe a pair of eyes in the rear vision mirror. You see those My Family stickers on the car and you're like, I'll take all you motherfuckers on right now. Mum, dad, cat, dog, baby, let's go. It's fucking party time. You know, because you think about it, right? Say, for example, they had, my Maori family stickers. No one's going to that fucking car, are they?
Good afternoon, Adam. How are you?
I'm going very well, Murray. Yourself?
Very good. I'm good. It's a Thursday afternoon here in Melbourne, and you're in Melbourne too, I believe.
I am in Melbourne. I'm a bit stressed today because I can't find the charger for my laptop. So
Ooh.
any jokes I was going to write out in public, it's falling away very quick. I'm going to have to go back to analog and start writing stuff down on paper.
Yeah, that sucks. And they don't, like mobile phones, you can say, hey Siri, or, I better be careful because I've just set off everyone's phones.
Yeah, hey Siri, can you write a festival show for me?
Yeah, there's that. And of course, I don't know, is it a Mac? Is it a PC?
It's a Mac, of course.
Oh, it's a Mac, even worse. So, you know, that's about $400-500 to get a replacement, isn't it? So
yeah, I can't think of where I would have left it. I don't charge it that often. This is going to kill me now.
All right. Well, at any point in this interview, if you just go, Eureka, that's fine. We'll,
yeah, cool.
We'll share the journey with you. And maybe
what I need to do is hit a cafe and steal someone else's because everyone... I'm in North Fitzroy, so everyone around here runs with a Mac.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
I have a chance to steal another one.
That and headphones. I'm always losing headphones, but finding new ones on the ground all the time.
Yeah, see, I've never lost headphones. I'm always sticking with those. But I've just got the kind of in-ear ones. I don't run those big fucking Bose fuck-off ones that I imagine kids of the future are going to have very powerful necks. They hold up their noise-cancelling headphones.
Yeah, that's right. The evolution of humanity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
As they listen to podcasts.
One thing we haven't factored in.
No, that's right. Well, Adam, thank you very much for having the time to speak to me in between hunting down for your peripherals. We did meet in person at my Raw Heat. That's right, I did a Raw Heat and didn't get through. Not that it was anything to do with you, because you weren't one of the judges, but we did meet quite a few times in the toilet.
Yes, that's right. I'm doing steadfast. I was drinking a lot of water, and you were doing nervous wheeze before the show.
I was shitting myself. Yeah.
So was that your first Raw Heat?
Yeah. I'm for anyone who knows the School of Hard Knock Knocks knows me as the admin guy. That's a bit of an in-joke with Ben Horowitz. He stands in front of the camera. There's very few photos of me in the last 3 years that we've been running the School of Hard Knock Knocks. So if you get one, it's worth something. But being the operations person and the marketing person, I have to know what these alumni, the graduates who graduate from our stand-up comedy course, what they are going to go through should they decide to compete at Raw. So,
right. So it's for that reason.
Yeah, well, look, if I got through and got my own TV series, that would have been a little a plus as well. But no, it was really more for the research. And I do like scaring myself, but I had no intention. And I've never done any open mics in Melbourne, so this was straight off the bat.
So you've never been on stage properly before?
Oh, I've introduced Ben Horowitz prior to the graduation of the School of Hard Knock Knocks Stand-Up Comedy School. We have a graduation on the last day.
Yeah.
And
you hadn't done a proper set before?
No, that was the first, and I don't think I hit 5 minutes.
Oh, that was amazing. You did a really good job then.
Oh, well, thanks very much, Adam. That'll go on the front page. He did a really amazing set of our website. Oh, well, that's good. Well, let's stop talking about me. Let's talk about Adam Rozenbachs. Is it Rozenbachs or Backs? How do you... Backs. So like the composer.
Yeah.
That's right. On the topic of Raw, so you were there at Raw in Melbourne with David Quirk, who many people know from both stand-up and TV. And you're seeing these comedians perform. At any point, do you go, "Oh my God, I've got to up the game. I've got competition just behind." Like when a male lion sees the cubs for the first time, it's like, "I've got to rip their heads off."
No, I think you get kind of set up you get kind of caught up in the day. You don't see that far into the future. You want it to be a really good day because you're looking at it going, how much work do I have to do?
Okay.
It was Sunday afternoon. If it's a really bad show, aside from you going, well, there's no competition here, it's just a bad day for everybody. So you kind of want it to be, fun and to make sure that the person who's on, 25th has as fair a crack at it as the person who's on like 3rd or 4th. So you want to keep that energy up. And if too many people tank, then it just makes it really difficult.
Yeah, right.
For that, so no, I certainly don't. It's not until you get the Nationals where you're like, well, they can fuck off. They're far too good.
You're right.
That's when the bitterness, I hold my bitterness off for the competition further down the track.
Oh, right. And then you rip their heads off. Gotcha.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I was about to ask you, what is your advice for those who do make it through the heats to the semi-finals, or in some cases straight to the state final? But it sounds to me like keep your head down and don't meet Adam Rozenbachs.
Yeah, don't ask for my advice. I mean, the one thing that people might sometimes think is they need to do a new 5 minutes or throw some new jokes in there. And I always say, just do exactly the same thing. It's a different audience. People haven't seen you that much. And, you're not expected when you're brand new to have, 15, 20, 25 minutes. So just do what you've been doing, nail that bit and get through to the, just keep doing the same shit, keep getting the same laughs, and it's going to hopefully, hold you in good stead.
Yep. Gotcha. Oh, well, we'll see what happens with those people. Now, you've been a stand-up comedian for a long time, but you've got more than stand-up comedian on your resume. Writer, comedian, broadcaster, actor. Firstly, is it in that order? Do you consider yourself to be one more than the other?
I reckon that's about the right order, to be honest. Actor certainly came last because that's the one I'm least confident in. Like every time I'm in an ad or, doing a bit part in something, I always just feel so self-conscious about it because it's just not, what I'm comfortable doing. I didn't do drama at school, so it's just, I always feel like I'm out of my depth, you know, and that's where a good director will help you out. Because there's one great director who always says, you know, he'll come over after you've done a scene and it'll be like, why don't you try it like this way? And he goes, actually, no, don't listen to me. You're doing a great job. And you're kind of like, no, I think I'll do it. He's like, you're great. You're the best. Don't worry. I'm an idiot. Forget it.
Yeah,
and
right,
then
right.
you do it his way anyway. And he just makes you feel super comfortable and he's just hilarious.
Oh.
And that kind of shit just, you know, relaxes me because otherwise I'd be really stressed out.
All right. So he's super humbling. He's like, you know, you're the master. How can...
Yeah.
Like,
and you know he's bullshit. You know he's going to get his way and he's really good at what he does.
He's like Yoda.
But he does it in such a way that you're like, maybe I am doing a really good job.
Yeah.
You're like, no, you fucking not. That's why there's 8 takes of it.
That's right. Yeah, there you go. Well, so that's your acting. So I'll repeat that order. So writer, comedian, broadcaster, actor. Actor, the last one. So writer, number 1. I looked at your IMDb page. So you've got more than just a Wikipedia page. You started writing.
Do I have I don't have a Wikipedia page, do I?
Oh, I don't know. I kind of avoid those.
No, I don't Google myself, which we can discuss later as to why. But I'm pretty sure I don't have Wikipedia.
Oh, right. Well,
I certainly haven't set myself up.
No, I don't. Well, you shouldn't have to, but this is a call out to everyone listening to this podcast. Get in quick. Yeah. Adam Rozenbachs needs a Wikipedia page.
He doesn't need one. He just doesn't have one.
All right. No, you're doing a great job, Adam. Now, keep up the good work. That's right.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Well, I was moving towards writer because on your IMDb, not your Wikipedia page, there is a comment that says you wrote for Russell Gilbert back in 2000.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah,
wow.
So that was my first...
You're not that old. You're in your 20s back then, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I was, I think I was about 25 or 26 when I first got that job. Yeah, it would have been 25. I was doing community radio at 3RRR in Melbourne, which is pretty much outside of Victoria. That's kind of like a really long-established, solid community radio station. It's got good roots, and it's really well listened to. So I was doing a show on that for like 3 years, and so we used to have a lot of comedians come through, and one of those was a guy called Paul Collegia, who has written on Before the Game, Front Bar. He's been around for quite some time, and he was working on Hey Hey with Russell Gilbert.
Right.
We had him as a guest on our show quite a bit, and then he was going to be the head writer on the new Russell Gilbert show, which was a talk show that kind of picked up where Hey Hey It's Saturday left off.
Right.
And I said, you know, do you guys need writers and stuff? And he said, look, send some stuff in and I'll show it to Russ. And so I sent in about half a dozen sketches and showed it to Russ. And, they took a gamble on me. I didn't really know Russell.
No.
But he was like, you know, he had been in that position back, you know, when he started out. And so he saw that and was like, we'll give this guy we'll give him an opportunity. And that's where it all started. So I've got a real kind of soft spot for Russ for doing that. You know, he was the first guy to take the punt on me, and it kind of took off from there.
Oh, fantastic! And then what after that? Because you have a lot of writing, you've written a lot of skits, shows, comedy shows. How did you keep getting more work?
Yeah. So after that, I went to Big Bite, which was a Channel 7 show in about 2001 or 2, I think it was. So that was a sketch show that eventually Chris Lilly came out of that one.
Right.
That's kind of where he first, you know, started to hone his skills as a comedic performer, like a character sort of actor. So he was on that. And then it got hosted by Hamish and Andy after that. And then it got kind of bumped. But I'd moved on to Skid House after that and then Before the Game. And so then you kind of just get to know people in the industry. And that's, you know, whenever stuff come up, I would always, you know, ask around, see what was around. And then, you know, was very fortunate to fall into 2 long-running shows in Before the Game and Spicks and Specks.
Yeah, right. Oh, the revamped Spicks and Specks with
No, I was the initial one. I did the first 6 or 7 years of the first one with Adam Hills.
Yeah, gotcha. And that's because of the RRR background. You knew a little bit about music because that's what Spicks and Specks is all about.
Actually, I don't think so because I did a comedy show on RRR, so. And I listen to heavy metal, so they just kind of, you know, and it didn't really matter because you just had to research stuff anyway. So it was just kind of the comedy side of it that I brought to it. But, you know, I learned a lot of stuff about about classical music that I had no idea about.
Yep.
And it was a great fun show. You know, it started off so small, and it was almost impossible to get guests, and then it just became a juggernaut. It was, you know, really good fun.
Yeah, no, that's right. We had we've interviewed Josh Earl, who took the rudder of the revamped version. Unfortunately, didn't last as long as the Spicks and Specks original, but no through that. All right. Well, I'm going to jump around the question order a little bit.
Of course.
You've received the list, and because you did mention Chris Lilly, and I thought, well, he's in the news within the comedy circuit these days. There's a lot of discussion about what you can, what you can't say, the political correctness, and I believe you're the kind of comedian who does fly very close to the sun when it comes to comments, and there has been an occasion. I only know of one.
Yeah, let's just say I flew into the sun at one.
You did, and you insulted an entire country, if not two.
Yeah.
It involves the football.
Look, we don't need to go into the details. I made it. I went a bit early with a tweet that I thought was funny, and then I was just like, all right, that's. I've gone a bit hard there. I apologised, and then it blew up and copped a lot of hate, which is. As I was saying before, that's why I don't Google myself, because that comes up quite a bit, and it's just one of those things where I'm like, I still feel shit about it, so I don't love looking back at that time, but it was a good learning experience to kind of just go, maybe don't rush into things, have a think before you speak, sort of thing.
Yeah, right.
So it was good in that.
But that being said, fantastic for coverage though. Your name. Whether obviously not from a positive.
Yeah, not in a real positive way.
But what do they say about marketing and branding? And, you know, all news is good news.
Yeah, any publicity is good publicity. But I'm not 100% sure about that. If you want to, there's actually a really good book about that by a guy called John Ronson, and it's called "They've Been Publicly Shamed," which anyone who's in, you know, kind of the media industry or entertainment, it's well worth a read, because it's just fascinating. Just at how an innocuous tweet or what you think is kind of funny at the moment can just can take off without any an opportunity to control it from your end. It becomes a life of its own, and then you're at the mercy of the social media gods.
Yeah, understand. But that being said, you still do, you know, you're still cutting edge type comedy. You're not talking about flower arrangements and orphans.
No, I think my default has always been a little bit, you know, kind of darker and edgier sort of stuff. But that certainly taught me that, you know, have a think sometimes before you say stuff.
Yep. And on the topic of sort of PC and safe rooms and keeping everything, you know, PG rated, what's your thoughts on that?
Oh, look, I don't know if it needs to be PG. I think as long as you're not flat out offensive or racist or sexist, then I think you can do whatever you like. I mean, you know, if you want to be racist, then that you know, if that's what you're after, that can be your prerogative. I just don't think you're going to get any work out of it. I don't imagine audiences are going to enjoy it on the whole, and people aren't going to want to work with you. So it's kind of, and also if you think that way, people aren't going to want to be around you as a human. So, you know, it's entirely up to you. If you're one of those people who goes, I can say whatever I want, so fucking say whatever you want, but, you know, no one's going to work with you. No one's going to want to be around you. You sound like a pretty shit person. You know?
Sure. So,
and I guess too, like if you want to go really dark, it's entirely up to you if you want to do that, but you've got to be in the room. So if you're happy with people being really awkward and not finding it funny, go for it. You know, that's what you're after. But I guess the ultimate goal is to try and get laughs. So it's kind of hard. Like I will do some edgy stuff, but if you do too much of it, the audience are just like, this is getting a bit, you know, they get uncomfortable. And it's okay for a little bit, but you don't want it to get to the point where they're like, I would rather go home.
Yes, look, it's being edgier, would you agree, is a little harder when you're a white male than if you're not? Yeah,
I mean, I guess I can see what you're saying, because we come from that position of privilege. So it's harder to... I don't know. I guess sometimes it can be harder to make a point about race and stuff like that, because you go, well, we haven't lived through that. But that doesn't mean we don't witness stuff. So I think you can use your position to make a point about, you know, how privileged people treat you know, the underprivileged or people in, you know, positions of non-power, that kind of stuff. So you can use that to your advantage, but yeah, there's a lot of us.
It's a difficult topic to talk about as well. Not only perform as you're discussing. So on that line, where do you get your material from? Where does it come from?
It kind of like looking back, because I'm currently writing my new festival show, and looking back, I used to do a lot of topical stuff, and then that kind of changed into more about my, you know, stories about my life and things that I've done. That was where I made the transition.
Yep.
So now it's a lot about things that happen in my life, and it's kind of observational, but hopefully not just, you know, what is the deal with sort of stuff. It's a bit of a deeper dive, and hopefully, you know, seeing it from a perspective that you know, people wouldn't think of themselves, you know, which is the role.
And how do you do that? How do you take that out-of-body experience or look at a situation from a completely different angle than everyone else is seeing it from?
I guess that's a matter of hopefully that's the way that I think normally, is to just question things. And I think that's the best way to do it, is to go, but why? You know, but why do we do this? Like almost like a child, but why? And then you can kind of go, maybe, you know, and what I would try and do with that, if I've got a topic, is try and write like 10 different jokes. So, you know, when you get to 7 or 8, you're kind of like, all right, I need a new angle on this. And that kind of forces you to, you know, think of it from a different perspective, think outside the box, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do it, is ask as many questions as you can of yourself.
Do you use any techniques?
The technique I do is just go, all right, here's your topic, you know, write 5, 6 gags on it, see what you get out of it, and see if something can just push you. And, you know, it might be the 6th one, and you're like, that's the best one.
Right.
The other 5 are non-existent, but it gets you to that point.
So don't think you finished on the first or second attempt. Push it further and further.
Yeah, a lot of times. And, you know, sometimes it can be as simple as talking over it with a mate, or, you know, a mate will watch you do stand-up and they'll see you do a bit, and then they'll be like, why don't you do that? And you're like, that's great. You know, sometimes you can just get stuck in your little world and you can't see outside of it, and it just needs someone to go, what about that? And you're like,
perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, great. So have people around you to influence, give you a...
Yeah, I think so. You know, people you trust as a sounding board just go, what do you reckon about this? And they'll be like, oh, what if you said it that way?
Yep.
And you go, yeah, that's what you want. And, you know, I think that happens a lot in comedy. You find your mates that you really like and really trust. Yep. And you go, yeah, you know, happy to listen to your advice.
Yeah, right. Do you have a lot of comedian friends that in your close circle?
Yeah, I do, a lot. I've been in the industry for like almost 20 years now, so yeah.
Right. So I mentioned at the beginning of this interview some of the things you've done, broadcasting, 3RRR you mentioned. You also do a lot of comedy on sport as well, and you do marriage the comedy and sport together. How did that come about?
I mean, for me, it kind of came about working on Before the Game, which was a footy show on the 10 network that Pete Hallier put together back in, I think it was 2003, I think the first year of that was. And it's just such a natural fit, because in the world of sport, it's so serious, and just anyone who can, you know, make a joke about it, you know, and footballers talking cliches and they're robots, and just to have that opportunity to, you know, just see that they're human and talk about it the way we all talk about it. Like, we're serious about it, but there's still some funny stuff that happens. And it just seemed, you know, with a lot of the shows that we're on, they're all about analysis. And I just love talking about it, like, from a fan and, you know, mocking how seriously we take it. You know, there's a lot of fun to be had with everything that happens in the sporting world. And, I just think it's right for comedy. It's a weird one trying to do it in stand-up, because unless it's a big, big story, people don't it's not it can be too intricate. So unless it's like a Wayne Carey or a Ricky Nixon, or, you know, something that's, or Carmichael Hunt, something that's on an Australian scale, it's on big, it's in the news, that stuff you can make jokes about it, but anything underneath that level, it's a bit like, people a bit like, I don't know what you're talking about, you know. So
yeah, right. Well, we are, just for those people who don't know what you're talking about, you are talking about AFL, right? Australian Football League.
AFL. Well, Carmichael Hunt is rugby.
Oh, rugby league.
Through that.
All right. So you were doing both, were you, in this show? You were covering all codes of football?
Not in that show. No, it was just AFL.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right. So yeah, for anyone listening outside, of course, this is a podcast, and it's open to literally anyone in the world. We're talking about a very, very funny game in its own right, somewhat between sort of bouncing bouncing like basketball on a pitch as big as a cricket field, kicking through goals like a soccer game, but
sort of without
a net. But very very. Who do you support?
I go for Carlton in the AFL, and I do a podcast about AFL, and even that is like super niche. It's like, if you're looking at it on a worldwide scheme, it's an Australian sport that's predominantly played in the southern states of Australia. So it's not even a national thing. So it's like niche, and then let's go a little more niche.
That's right. Yeah,
it's really smart.
Yeah,
it's really marketable.
Marketable, yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go bigger. Let's go international. You've performed all over Australia. Recently, also, you've performed in Afghanistan. I'm assuming it wasn't just a choice, a Kontiki tour. You went over to entertain the troops.
Yes, it wasn't at the Kabul Comedy Club, which I'm sure is great. I'm sure there's big laughs there.
That's right.
Last year I went to Baghdad, and then about 3 years ago I went to Afghanistan to do gigs for the troops, and it was like every time I've been over, it's just the most single, just amazing experiences you can have in your life. Like, it is just phenomenal just to be there and see, see the war machine and just, the money that's pumped into that shit, and just to see the troops on the ground and what they go through to keep us, safe on a global kind of scale is just incredible. And, they're over there for like 10 months at a time, and just the boredom that they would go through. It's just such a lovely feeling to go over there and provide, one, entertainment, and two, just to be able to remove their thoughts on where they are for an hour or two. And we get to shoot a lot of cool guns.
Yeah. What was your favourite gun? Or rifle, if you're in the army? Most likely a rifle.
Oh God, I can't remember. There was a sort of a snub-nosed machine gun that the SAS used that we got to fire. That was pretty cool. Oh, and then a big gun that needed to be on a bipod. That was pretty amazing as well. There's some pretty kick-ass weapons.
Yeah. And when you performed, talking about weapons, did you perform in the open with a big white light on you? Perfect target.
Well, they're all armed. So that's the one thing that you got to get used to when you arrive on the base.
Yes,
everyone's armed. So you'd be in the mess hall getting lunch, and some guy's bending over to get himself a drink, and a lot of the Eastern European countries have AK-47s as weapon of choice for their army. Whereas we're used to seeing that's like your Taliban or your terrorist kind of weapon.
Yes.
So it's really weird to get your head around that. But then they'll be leaning over to get their drink, and their guns kind of just, swinging around facing up at you, and you're like, oh God.
Yeah, right.
So when we were in Kandahar, it was an outdoor sort of space. It was only in the Australian base, Camp Baker it was called. And there's one patch of grass on this whole air base, and that was in the Australian part of the base. So it was almost like an outdoor picnic kind of thing. They had a bit of a barbecue and stuff, and we performed there, and that was really, really cool. Except everyone there is heavily armed, so heckles are going to come, pretty fast.
Yeah.
And aimed at your chest.
Right.
And then we got to perform in Kabul, and that was one of them was in like a huge, just like a big tent that we got to perform in, and then the other one was sort of in an outdoor garden area at the NATO headquarters in Kabul. But that was a tough one because there were Black Hawk helicopters landing during my set, and they are not great for noise.
They are not. So when people complain about cutlery tinging away during a show, you can Black Hawk, mate. You've never performed unless
yeah, exactly.
There you go. Well, that's. Would you do it again if you had the choice to go back?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So I got the opportunity to go to Baghdad last year, and that was again amazing. Just to be over there, and when you get a sense of where you are in the world, and it's like the history of Mesopotamia and Iraq and all that kind of stuff is just it's incredible. Yeah, they're fun gigs, and the people that you hang out with and talk to and stuff, it's just an amazing experience.
All right, well, let's go local. Hold My Beer. That's the show that you're performing at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. There's no Black Hawks in Melbourne. You won't have issues with noise.
Well, I'm hoping not. No.
We don't have a gun culture. We're pretty safe here.
Yeah.
So you can go a bit risque. You're pretty safe. Hold my beer. It's kind of it's a meme, isn't it? For I'm going to go one-upmanship.
Yes, that's exactly
Look
what
at
it
me.
is. See, I love that you do that. A lot of people are just like, oh, yeah, what's that about? I'm like, fuck, have you not been on the internet in the last 5 years?
That's right.
So it's basically just straight stand-up, and I'm still working on the show. So who knows what's going to be in there?
Well, yeah, I interviewed Matt O'Kine and he gave me a bit of an inside secret on naming of shows, and that is basically, I think in August you get told what's the name of your April show or March-April show, and you make stuff up in terms of titles, and then you kind of squeeze it. Is that what you're intending to do? Sort of.
Look, mine's just the title doesn't mean anything to the show. It's just a title, and it's just going to be stand-up. So I have done ones before that are theme shows that, like I did one about I stopped drinking for a year. So that show was called Breaking Booze.
Yes.
So that one was, easily good. It was a fun title, and it actually connected to the show. So sometimes they do, other times they don't. Or sometimes you see them and there's like a tedious link, and you're like, all right, that's a bit weird.
Yeah, right.
But, you thought it was a good idea in October, and then when you started writing it, you're like, oh, fuck, this is a lot harder than I thought.
Yeah, that's right. And this will be your 10th solo show, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. So
Wow.
I had done 9 in a row. I took last year off, and this year I'm back for my 10th. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Bingo. And where will you be playing if people want to come and see your show? Which location?
Yes, I'm at the European Beer Cafe, which is in Exhibition Street in the city of Melbourne, and I'm only doing 12 shows for the first 2 weeks. So the 28th of March I start till I think it's about the 8th of April at 9:30.
Excellent.
So it should be fun. It's a fun little room. So it's, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. That's great. Well, I look forward to popping in and seeing you as well. If in between the Melbourne International Comedy Festival and your other gigs, if someone wants to get in contact with Adam Rozenbachs, how do they do that?
My email, if you want, because you can just get it off my website is rosie, rozie.com.au.
Mm-hmm.
And my email is just adam@rosie.com.au. So, go to the website, check out where I'm at, any gigs you want to come to. They're all up there, so check
Perfect.
it out.
Excellent. Well, Rosie, is that the nickname that you had through high school?
It is. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not what a young boy wants in year 9, mate.
No, but you grew out of it, didn't you? Oh.
Well, I grew out of, worrying about it, but certainly didn't grow out of the nickname.
No. Well, Rosie, Adam, thank you very much for your time on this interview. You've shared a lot with us, and thank you again for warming up the audience and I was 24th at the heat, and so you did a great job because you kept everyone alert for my attempt.
Pleasure, mate. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, mate.